Hi, Alberto. There we go. I think we're connected now.
Hi,
How are you?
good. How are you?
I'm great. It's great to finally see you face to face. I feel like we've known each other forever, as we've mentioned before. So,
Yeah,
I'm really excited to get to chat with you. And as you know, sharing our stories is really just able to connect with so many other people. So, I have a few questions for you, and we can just run through those and chat about hyperhidrosis.
okay, thank you.
So, starting off, when did you first notice that you had hyperhidrosis? Was it something that you knew for yourself, or did somebody else point that out?
I noticed I was different when I was like 5 years old in church when we used to like sit and like shake hands and stuff and hold hands and like prayer. And then one of my mom's friends noticed and said something about it, but I thought that was normal, so I didn't really think anything of it. So until I started going to school, like in kindergarten,
Hmm.
that's when I noticed that I was different. And I couldn't socialize very much with kids because I was always like worried about just my problem, and I couldn't like kind of be myself, and I didn't know what it was. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was really hard,
I relate to
especially
that.
when you're a kid. It's hard because you don't know what to do.
Right.
You,
And you
you don't
don't
know.
really know until somebody points it out to you that you are different or that there is this thing that only you have and nobody else has it. And that's what it seems like until you reach a community, where you find out you're really not alone in it. But those years leading up to finding that community, it feels just so isolating.
You feel so lonely.
It really does.
And
Um,
kids are mean, and they would say, "Oh, you're gross. Why are you wet?"
mhm.
And then that's how like elementary went on. And then,
Yeah, definitely. Do you remember the first time that you seek treatment for hyperhidrosis?
so my mom did take me when I was like a teenager because it was getting out of control. And I think I must have been like 12 or 13. And the doctor pretty much didn't know what it was and said that we could try, I think it was dry soul.
Mm-hmm.
I tried dry soul, and then it didn't work. So then I kind of gave up on that, like seeking treatment.
Right.
And I was trying to just live with it through my teenage years and through high school and stuff. I was trying to just like control it, and I could control it. It's weird because I could, when I was alone, like I was fine, but as soon as I would be around people, like it would just trigger and it would turn on like a water faucet, and then my hands and armpits would just sweat. Mostly my hands was like what would bother me the most because it's like your biggest tools as a human is your hands. Of
Right.
course,
You
your
can't
brain,
hide it. There's nothing you can do to hide your hands.
you can't hide it. So I was always awkward like my whole life. And even as an adult, I was just like shy, awkward. I
Right.
would kind of isolate myself from everything, from everyone. Um, just different events or like gatherings. I was always lying about why I couldn't go. And when I would go, I was my fight or flight response system was always like on. So I was always trying to like get out of situations
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like bail out and like not say goodbye or like
Right.
show up, not say hi because I was just so worried about. I was self-conscious about my hands.
Yeah.
And
How do you think that sort of affected your relationships growing up?
it affected my relationships a lot. Like I wasn't very social at all. Um, I was afraid to ask for help even from teachers. I had a few friends and I was fine, and I was like I had friends always, but I was always hiding that aspect of my life. And so nobody really ever knew about it until I got my surgery, which was about maybe 3 years ago. And then I started talking about it more. And that has helped me talking about it and meeting like different people and like you and then like different people from the center
Yeah.
um, has really helped me just to like kind of like helping me with the healing process. So to me, it's still fresh because
Yeah.
I suffered with it for so long. So like from like 5 till I was 35. So all those years of trauma it just did something to me. Like I'm trying to forget about it, and I thought it would be easier for me to forget about this and like just move on. But everybody's different, and some people could probably like brush it off and be like, oh, that was that. But me, it's kind of like still there, and I can still kind of feel it. So it affected my life a lot, and that's why I want to talk about it a little bit more than some people, I guess.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Um, and so I know that you actually getting to the point of having surgery, that was sort of a journey for you. So if
oh
you
yeah.
want to touch on that, like, when you initially found the center and up until you actually got surgery.
So I ended up graduating high school when I was 18, and I really like wanted to go to school, but the sweaty hands problem was like just in the way. So then I found work, construction. I would do construction, and it was a way to kind of like hide from like not hide from people, but kind of like hide my hands. I would wear gloves, and then
Right.
sometimes I'd have to use water and stuff. So I kind of would use the water to like kind of hide it. And then
Mhm.
when I would work and focus on work, I would kind of forget about it. And then I started construction when I was 18, and then probably once I met my wife and started to like have a relationship, I noticed it was just like getting in the way of like us doing things together because she wanted to do things and then I couldn't because I was like sick. I felt like I was sick with this disease. And so that was hard. And so I started going to the doctor again myself when I was like maybe about 20 or 21. And I went to the doctor again and they gave me dry sol again. And they told me to try the, I think it's the iron frosis machine where you put your hands and it kind of shocks you. And just different topical creams. They had me on some like anti-anxiety pills, like the depression pills. And I would tell the people, like the doctors, like, I don't have depression. Like, I don't, that's not my problem. Like I felt happy. Like I always felt happy and I always meant the best out of things. But that was always like a burden in my life, like always dealing with the sweat like daily since I woke up in the morning. It was like so stressful to me and very traumatic that I was willing to try anything. And then they told me that I could try Botox. And I just didn't want to go that route because I heard that it would make your hands weak. And
Mhm.
with my job, I didn't want to do that.
Right.
So then I tried the iron frozen machine probably for a few years on and off. Like I would do it for like a month at a time and it will hurt. Like if you had little cuts and stuff, like it would
Oh my gosh.
sting.
It was miserable.
It was miserable and it really didn't help. And I guess I tried that for a few years and then I kind of gave up and I would pray to God every day, every night, please God, just please take this away from me. I would drive to work sometimes like driving like with the steering wheel and like I would look at the sweat and like some days I would cry because I would just like be like, please just stop, please stop. Because sometimes I'd have to like different situations when you have to meet like different builders, different contractors, different generals and or supervisors, and it would just make me like awkward and I could feel like they could tell and maybe they couldn't, but in me it was something that like it would just like affect me so much that I felt kind of like weird. And then so I let time go by, and then through all that I had like my first kid, and I was just hoping it would go away on its own. And then when I was like 25, I went back to the doctor again because I was like, come on, you guys got to help me. Like there's something you could do about it. Same thing, like the deodorants, the machine. And so I tried the machine again and I kept trying that. But at the same time, I found the center. And I think it was Dr. Reisfeld.
Mhm.
And I called him one time and I was surprised because he called me right back. Like he was quick, called me back and he kind of explained the surgery. And I'm not sure, but I think they might have done it a little bit different back then, the procedure than now. But he kind of explained to me like the process and he explained to me like how much it would cost and I was just scared. Like I didn't know what to do because I never talked to this anybody else.
Right.
So I didn't do it. And then I must have lived like that like another, I don't know, like 8 or 10 years. And I went back to the doctor maybe when I was like 32, 34, and they gave me like pills to like kind of like for depression. They were saying that that would kind of help me. But again, I told them it's not that. Like I'm not depressed. I'm just, you know, have this sweat problem. And then I think my daughter was graduating from 8th grade, and I couldn't really be around people. So that day I felt like super nervous, and I think I didn't go to the graduation. Like I had my wife go because I told her I felt sick. And then that day I got really, really depressed. And I think it was maybe like I was 35, and it was maybe like around May or June. And then I told myself, like, I can't live like this anymore. Like, I have to do something about this. I have to be there for my kids. Now that they're getting older, like, I want to be a good dad. I want to be present. I want to be there at their sports, at the graduations, at just different parts of their life, you know, and it makes me emotional talking about it because it really affected me so much. But so I called the center, and I talked to Dr. Basseri, and he told me like that he walked me through the procedure, and he told me the recovery, and he told me like how long it was going to be, and everything he said like explained it very well. And for some reason I just felt comfortable with him. And so then I found a way to get the money because it's expensive. It's an expensive surgery, and my insurance at the time didn't cover. So I was like just trying to find a way. So I ended up getting a loan to get the surgery, and I booked it for, I think it was like August. It was like a week before my 36th birthday, I think. And that was pretty much like to me, like my birthday present.
Right.
To finally have like dry hands.
Absolutely.
And so then I flew out, I think it was like on a Thursday night. And then Friday morning, surgery was like at 6. And then I think I walked out of the hospital probably like around 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like life changing. Like I felt like reborn, and I was able to like instantly like do this, and then my armpits were dry, and I still have it on my feet, which is not like I'm completely cured because I still have it on my feet, and it's still a condition that I will always have for the rest of my life. It'll never go away unless I do the surgery for the feet.
Mm-hmm.
But as a guy, like I don't really care about my feet, plus the cost and all that, and the insurance and all that stuff, you know, they won't cover it because they feel like it's like cosmetic.
Right.
And so that's pretty much what happened. And it was like completely life changing. I felt reborn.
I totally agree. I tell people
Like,
all the time, I genuinely felt like I started a new life that day. And it's just
pretty
something
much.
that, unless you go through it yourself and you suffered for all of those years and then you have that surgery, you just genuinely will never know what it's like to wake up from surgery and you put your hands together and they're just dry. You just won't know. And you know, as people who had it, we can't expect other people to relate to that who don't have it. But it is one of the most frustrating things that I heard leading up to the surgery. Like, you're really going all the way to California to get surgery for your sweaty hands. And it's like, absolutely, I am. Like, imagine it's just, you can't explain it to anybody who doesn't have it, you
Even
know?
now, I tell people about it, and they're like, "What the heck is that?
Yeah,
What? Is that no big deal?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it was a big deal. Like that
absolutely.
affected me mentally so much, not only physically, but for me, it was mostly mentally. Like where I just felt like I couldn't do things. And there's some people that everyone's different, but there's some people that have this. I've met them, not met them, but like talked to them, maybe met a couple, and I really admire the way that they were able to still like go through life, go through college, have career with that. It's like they had like an extra strength that I didn't have, and I wish I would have had that strength that they had. So like sharing the different stories of different people is like different perspectives has really helped me, because some people can deal with it, some people can't. Like
Exactly.
me, I couldn't really deal with it. Some people can deal with it. I don't know how.
And
maybe
we've
they
talked
had
about
a
this before, how it really does affect everyone differently. Like I told you that like relationships for me, like dating and all that, I literally did not even go on a date until after I had my surgery. But I did go to college, and that aspect of my life I did do. But the aspect that you did, you had kids and everything else, and that was something I was like, I could not even imagine like holding someone's hand or anything. So it really does affect everyone differently. Um, Oh, that's it. That's why I love this. I truly do love, getting all of these stories out because there are going to be so many people that can relate to your story. And, even just coming from a guy's perspective, like a handshake when you're a guy, that is like the thing that you do. Women, we get away with it a little bit easier. We can hug easier, things like that. But a guy, it's a handshake. It's always a handshake.
it's the handshakes that was really that I could never do. And the couple times I did do it, and people would be like, "Oh, what the heck? That's gross." Like, learn how to handshake, and I'd just be like just like shocked and like nervous. I was always nervous. My nerves were just shot. And then sometimes I would do something and get through it, and then when I would come home, I was just like I just wanted to sleep. It was just so much. It was so overwhelming going through that in the moment that I just wanted to sleep for a while, and like it would take me like a while to just relax. And then at home I would relax and I'd be fine. In my house, it was like my little cave. I was like
Right.
fine. As soon as I stepped out in the world, trigger, and then boom, sweat, and then it would last. For me, it would last like from like 8 in the morning to like 6, and it just nonstop. And I'd forget about it a little bit here and there, and I felt fine. But then once I thought about it, or there was people, boom, it's back on, and I'm like, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So that's why I decided to, go to the center,
Right.
get surgery, and Dr. Basseri was the best.
He's
He took care of
incredible.
me.
He
And
really,
to me, Dr. Basseri is like my hero because he changed my life.
I fully agree with that. Every
So
single day, I still think about it every day. And obviously, I really am in it talking to people every day. But I truly think even if I didn't have that as my job where I get to talk to patients every day, I wake up every day and I'm like, my hands are dry.
yeah,
Like it still blows my mind. I'm a year post,
that,
I'm a year, 3 years
just
post.
that makes me happy.
Yeah,
Waking up and going, like, oh, man, I'm good.
just the
It could be any
simple,
other problem, and that simple thing was like I could handle more things now.
yeah,
I could I could go to work. I can go to my kids' school stuff, their sports. I can go meet like different people, clients and stuff. And yeah, of course I get tired. I'm human. I still stress out. I still kind of feel nervous. Like talking to you today, I felt kind of nervous. I was like, oh man, like, I never done like a Zoom like this before. And so I felt nervous, but I'm like, you know, it is what it is. And I'm not sweating. So
mhm,
just that fact, I could kind of be like in the moment. Like I'm in the moment with you right here. I mean, we're doing Zoom and it's different like face to face
mhm,
because face to face is when I had like more of a problem because then I could feel like people were watching my hands and they
right,
could see the sweat come out. And sometimes I would catch them like looking and I'd be like, oh, like I hide my hands, pockets, like back here, like try to sit on them or like just always hiding my hands.
yeah. Oh yeah, I always had a sweatshirt with me so I could just,
Oh,
tuck my hands in my sweatshirt and any way that I could hide it, I was
I
hiding it.
always have like a little like bounty towel, a wet one, and I would always put it in my pocket for years and years and years. When I would drive it, I would by myself, I would take it out when I was driving because nobody would see it by myself. But then when people were with me in the car and I was driving, that was you know, like nerve wracking
Oh
because I
yeah,
could feel like I would be driving and I feel like they could see the sweat on the steering wheel, and I could feel like maybe they weren't looking, but I thought they were looking, and then I would kind of drive funny, like on the side, like over here,
mhm,
trying to
right,
be
try to hide it.
driving like that, and that was really tough. Um, Getting change, like when I would pay, and then like to get the change, I'd be like a
Yeah,
wipe, and then like real quick, and then sometimes they drop the change on the counter, and I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, and I'd pick it up quick, and then just like anything I would do involving my hands around people, I
mhm,
was always trying to like do it, but kind of go like paperwork or like just certain things at work. I would do my job and kind of hiding it. And just all those little things just start to eat you. And I feel like people who get this done at a younger age, kind of from what I've talked to different people, kind of can get past it easier. People that have suffered with it for a longer time, it kind of like takes a little bit longer to heal. I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I've seen, like
Yeah.
the way I see it, kind of. So like, I really wish, what I'm getting at is I wish I would have done this when I was younger. You know, things happen for a reason. I'm here right now talking to you about this, and hopefully this video helps a lot more people. And not only for them to get the surgery or for them to like get cured, but for the world to know that this is an issue that really affects like people like a lot. And I know there's more different diseases that are more like, you know, life threatening, but people think that the sweat is no big deal, but it is a big deal. And there's millions of people that have this and are suffering right now. And if there was a way to like do more research, like get more help, get more funding, maybe have insurances cover more for these people in the future. You know, us, we already did this and we chose to get surgery, and we're, you know, in different stages of this from other people. There's got to be a way to just help more people and find different cures. And, you know, everybody's different. So maybe one cure might help one person and another, you know, different person. But I think there needs to be more doctor research and just research, and
Absolutely.
it needs to be more out in the world that there's this condition, because nobody really talks about it. I never did till now. So I think maybe if I would have talked about it when I was young, it wouldn't have affected me so much, but I was hiding it. It's like my secret.
Yeah.
So
I was the same way. I
was embarrassed.
did not talk to anybody about it. My parents knew. Some really close friends knew that my hands sweat, but I seriously never even told anybody really the extent of how much it actually affected me inside, you know? Like
Exactly.
I would I really honestly didn't even complain about it much, because in my head I was like, there is nothing anybody can do for me. So what is, you know, I
You
thought
feel
to myself,
helpless.
like, this is miserable, but I never complained about it on a day-to-day basis because there was nothing anyone could do. I'd already tried all the creams and lotions. I had already tried the iontophoresis machine. And after you try so many things, you hit a point where you're like, I guess I just have to live with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still remember like my breaking point. I had one specific breaking point, and I was golfing with my parents, and the golf club flew out of my hands because my hands are so sweaty. And I seriously came inside of my house and I just started crying. I was like, I am so frustrated. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And that's how I found Dr. Basseri. I typed in hyperhidrosis surgery and I found him, and I was like, I'm going to have my call and I'm going to see what comes out of this. And you know, I could not have even imagined that the surgery was going to be like, boom, done. You wake up with dry hands and they're just dry for the rest of your life. It still blows my mind.
Oh yeah. Totally. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. And honestly, I still can't believe it.
I really can't. It is
So
absolutely crazy. So, what are some of your like favorite moments after surgery, living life with dry hands?
just everything now. I could just be in the moment now. I could handle any situation. Um, I like driving. I like driving now. I like being at my kids' sporting events and not feeling like worried and like wanting to leave. Work, like I like to work, and like I feel like more confident. I feel more confident in every aspect of my life. I just feel like super confident. And the way I can explain it is I felt like my whole life, like I was like a cage lion. Like I was like always like in a cage. And then once I got the surgery, I feel like free, like, oh my God, like I could do anything now.
Right.
And like I feel like I wasted a lot, not wasted a lot of my time, my life, but I feel like it kind of did.
Like
It
you
kind
weren't
of
living to your full potential.
I wasn't. And so now I feel like my life, I feel kind of behind because there's just so much I want to do. And but then, everything like work, family, kids, it's like
Right.
it's still a lot. Like there's always problems in life. This was my biggest problem. And now I feel like I can do anything. So just being confident under my own skin. That's the best thing of it, the best part of it.
I totally agree. And I relate to the driving story so much. When I had it, I bought this fancy little steering wheel cover. It was
Oh
like
yeah.
all rhinestones. That way I could cover the sweat because you couldn't see it on that like shiny rhinestone material. And I actually just took that off last week. And so now it's just my like black leather steering wheel. And every time I'm driving, I'm like, this is incredible. I look down and the steering wheel is just dry. I don't have to worry about other people being in my car and seeing the sweat. Like it's something that is that small where if you don't have it, you would not even think how much just that could affect your life
You could like grip the wheel with like both hands.
and just safety. I mean, driving
Safe.
with sweaty hands on that leather steering wheel.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I would always tell people, I'll meet you there because I wanted to go alone.
Right.
And oh no, I'll go with you. And I'd be like, oh crap, because I was always trying to hide that. And
Absolutely. Wow.
it was really tough living like that, honestly. Like
It
just
truly is.
super, super tough. And especially like it went on too long. And it was very traumatic, like I said. And I'm trying to get past it. And talking with you has really helped. The whole experience has just been like mind blowing. Like, I still like can't believe it. How many more people there is that suffer from this,
Oh
and I
my
just
gosh.
wish I could help them and like just somehow like cure everyone.
I know.
Because I don't want people to suffer like I did, especially as long as I did. So,
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, I don't think that I even truly allowed myself to grasp how much it affected me until after my surgery, looking back. And I was like, wow, like it took a bigger toll on me than I even had imagined it did because I just always played it off. Like if somebody saw my sweaty hands, I had a line and I would, say my little like, oh yeah, my hands are sweaty and just laugh it off. I never even allowed myself to really feel how much it was impacting me until after. And then obviously getting to talk to patients who are still struggling with it, it just breaks my heart. And I'm in the same boat as you. I wish that there was just something that could cure everybody, or I at least wish that people didn't feel so isolated because I know up until I was after surgery, really, I was like, I'm the only one with this. I'm the only one who has this as bad as me. And I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone about it because nobody can understand. It's like, it's such an isolating feeling when you have something that you can't even talk about.
you can't. And then when you do try it, they're like, ah, no big deal. Like it's just sweat.
Right.
Then you shut down and you don't talk to nobody.
Right. Because you feel like your problems are nowhere near other problems. And that's where I feel like it's not even comparable. Like everybody has a struggle. And that doesn't mean that struggling with hyperhidrosis is any more significant or less significant than anybody else's struggles. But it does deserve to be treated as
Yeah,
it truly is, which is it truly does affect every single thing you do, every interaction that you have with somebody.
every moment of my life was just a burden, like dealing with this. So, I mean, I made the best of it, and I'm sure so did you. You do the best with what you have,
Right.
but then it's just something that makes you so depressed and self-conscious and all that. And
Definitely.
I'm really happy. I found the center, and I researched them for years, like I told you,
Mhm.
and they are the best place to do this. And I'll keep saying that they helped me. They changed my life. So
And if you had to, just leave people off that are still struggling right now with hyperhidrosis, if you had to tell them one thing, just to get through the day and feel like they have a community and know that they have a community, what would you say to them?
what I would say to them, what helped me through all this is to find an outlet to keep your mind from not thinking about that all the time. And whatever it is, just, stay with it and just keep praying, just praying to God. Like, I don't know if some people don't believe in God, but that's what I would say.
Yeah,
'Cause
find that outlet, find something where you can be yourself.
I know it's hard, but I found training in boxing, and that's what helped me get through this. When I was like 28, I've always liked boxing, but when I was 28, I started actually boxing and like
Mhm.
competing, and just putting on those gloves and um, being in there, like I felt free. So find something that will help you or make you feel free, even if it's just for a few moments of your life, that's one thing I would say to people so they could get through it. And just, I would say, talk about it. I never did. So that kind of feels like, like I know how hard it is to talk about it.
Mhm.
But if I would have talked about this before, maybe somebody could have helped me understood. But it was so hard, because I didn't have this community I have now.
Right.
So I guess, research, find a community and talk to people about it.
Definitely.
I should have done that, when I was younger.
I
But I
wish
never
I did
did.
too, but and I truly don't think that there was a community. I can never find that community. It's obviously being talked about more now with our center, and I'm finally starting to see other people post about it on social media. But if you would have told me when I was 16 years old and had no idea that there was a surgery for it to post a video of my hand sweating, I would not have done that because it was something that I just hid. Like in my mind, I was like, if I don't tell anybody, like obviously that's less people that know. And so I felt like it was something could keep to me more than like making a video about it and talking about it. But looking back now, I totally agree with you. Like if I would have just talked about it and then okay, everybody knows, but then I wouldn't have felt so like in a shell, like I had to hide because everybody knows. Like accept it or don't accept it, but I'm gonna be me. And that was something I wish that I had for those 20 years of me dealing with it before surgery.
Yeah, I understand that same. I got the same feeling. So
Well, dry hands. We have dry hands
yeah,
now.
my hands. Yeah, I have to
Amazing.
do this now.
Yep. Can put lotion on.
Yeah, my hands are kind of rough from work right now, but like I like hearing that little paper
Oh
sound.
yeah, it's amazing.
And then like putting on lotion. Um, Before it was just like it wouldn't like absorb it and it would turn like greasy and then it would just
Just
my
nice.
hands would turn numb and they would turn like pink. And then they felt like my bones felt like I don't know, like swollen kind of, and it would feel really weird. And I would just feel gross. I would feel like a gross person just because the sweat.
Right.
And it would drip. It would
Shower,
turn.
you're immediately sweating. You literally you can never catch a break. You're just constantly sweating. And then when you're not sweating and you think about the fact that you're not sweating, you start sweating, like we mentioned earlier. So you never had that off switch or control.
You could feel it too when you got into a moment. You could kind of feel the tingle, and you kind of feel it start, and it was like a gross feeling. And I don't get that feeling anymore. I mean, I still get nervous,
Right.
and when I work out, I do sweat, which is sweating is normal.
Right.
And when it's really really hot, I did get a little bit of CS like on my chest, like in my stomach, and like on my legs, but it's like maybe like a 2 or 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
10 being the worst. And I could feel it, and it is a little bit different. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm sweating more. But then my hands are dry and my arms are dry. But then once I cool down, it goes away. Like before, even if I cool down, it was still like my hands are like
Yeah.
drip.
No,
I'd
we
be on
can.
the phone and I could see it. I could see it like dripping on my
Yep.
arm. and I'd be like, oh, and like I always wanted to be alone, you know, and I was always lying to get out of situations because I didn't want to be around people.
Yeah.
So now I, whatever situation I'm in, I could just be there. And my mind isn't trying to escape. My mind is right there, like right now with you. I'm right here. Like I don't care about anything else.
Hands or yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are, scared of that compensatory sweating, but
yeah,
everybody that I talked to, at least we've all had really the same story with it. Like, and I always explain it as you have an off switch now. Like you said, you'll be out, if it's hot outside, sure, we're gonna sweat. I do sweat a little bit more now than I did before surgery, but it's just like my back, sometimes my chest, but it's really just those certain moments. So it is just totally different.
it
I would
evaporates.
gladly take it any day. And
It
then once your
evaporates
body cools
quick.
down,
Yeah.
you're good.
It evaporates. Like once you cool down, it just evaporates.
Right. Just like anybody would. Anybody who never had,
Yeah.
hyperhidrosis, it's like that sweating. You sweat in a certain, setting if you're exercising, if you get super hot. And when you're done in that environment, so is the sweating. It's not like you can, before surgery, man, I could be sitting on the couch watching TV, completely calm and relaxed, just sweating.
Yep, I remember that. And I'll never forget it. Like,
No.
it'll always be there. And maybe as time goes by, I maybe will forget it. But for now, it's going to be 3 years in August, and I'm doing better now. But I do have a little bit of PTSD from it, and I'm still on my healing path. And everyone's different, and everybody goes through different journeys for a reason. So hopefully my journey and your journey, we could just help a lot more people get through this, and at least if not get the surgery, at least talk about it,
Right.
So
Definitely. And just know that anybody watching this, you are not alone. For anybody watching on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, there is genuinely such a huge community. And the more that everybody shares their stories, whether you still have it or you've recovered from it now, it is just amazing to know that feeling inside that, like, okay, I'm not alone. And for me, some days were worse than others. Some days I'd wake up, my hands were already sweating. I knew it was going to be a bad day. And those days, if I had just like that mindset of, okay, somebody else out there is sweating just as bad as me, I think I would have been able to look at it a little bit differently. Whereas when you wake up and you have that and you're like, okay, it's going to be a horrible day because I'm the only one that has this. And I would wake up in the morning with that sort of attitude about it. Like, well, my hands are going to be horrible today. And I was not the same person when my hands were at their worst, or if I was going to be around a lot of people in a social setting, I was in a shell. And I knew inside that I was always an outgoing person, but there's like that door up where you literally can't be your full self.
It's a wall. You can't get through it. You're just stuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
I totally just relate to everything that you say. And I'm so glad that we've connected, and I really appreciate you doing this call. And
You're
you're
welcome.
going to be helping so many people.
It feels like I kind of like finally like met like my kind. It might sound kind of weird, but that's
No, absolutely. When you live with something for so long, thinking you're the only one, and then you find even just one other person that has it, you're like, okay, I can talk to them. They understand.
Totally.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. This won't be the last time that we talk. We will stay connected as we have been. And just have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll be in touch shortly.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Yes, you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.